Welcome back, and sorry about the technical difficulties. Marissa from the Culture Lab Speaker Corner is here with us to tell us all about the project. Marissa, what is Culture Lab?
Well, this was our first event tonight with Culture Lab, and essentially what it is, it's a strategic alignment between University College Dublin and Dublin City Council. And the idea behind it is to find platforms for intellectual and cultural exchange. So what we did tonight was, it was a simple concept. It was a speaker's corner. We were getting lecturers who often speak behind closed doors of university theatre to come out into the public and to become storytellers of their research and to bring out cultural practitioners from across different organisations and disciplines from the city with Dublin City Council, and also to kind of grassroots pop-up organisations.
But so they couldn't talk about it as if they were talking about when they're in UCD, for example, because there was everyone in the street. We looked at you all evening. There was thousands of people just listening. It could be anyone. So
that's very true, and it's part of the challenge of what we do with the project. We had a pilot project called Dublin Intellectual, which was kind of the event side of what we're doing at the minute, and it brought again scholars out into the public. And what we learned then, and it was very similar tonight, is that when you're talking to a class who are forced to listen to you, it's very different than when you have a public who don't. They can walk out at any time, and you have to become much more of a performer rather than just a lecturer. And I think it's an important lesson that I think we should be learning in the university. They're good skills, but also then it's part of kind of the larger civic duty of a university is to democratise knowledge. It's to open those doors. It's to engage with the public in as many ways as possible.
So how do you feel? How did it go tonight?
It was wonderful, and it was a great first event. It was fantastic to have.
It's a good night to have your first event.
Well, I was shocked that it wasn't torrential downpour, because when we decided to have it outside, it was during that heat wave that we were all shocked to have during the summer, and it seemed that of course that weather would stay forever. On Monday I was thinking that it was the worst idea to have it outside here at the bottom of Cowes Lane, but it's a fantastic night and a great atmosphere, not just where we are but just across the whole city.
It's interesting that it seems that everything that you're doing and the whole project is kind of dependent on this relationship between and the link between the university and Dublin City Council.
Yes.
And it all comes from that being healthy and being.
Well, it often doesn't happen that you get like institutions
such as
two
big institutions that are used to working independently for the core of the time, you know.
And there's lots of similarities, which I found was quite interesting. So the departments that are in something like Dublin City Council are replicated within University College Dublin. And what it allows us to do as well, UCD is very much an island campus. It's out on the outskirts of the city, and it's very self-contained. But what that prevents is kind of true public engagement. People don't feel that they can cross the threshold. Less of that kind of a crossover with communities and then what goes on behind these closed doors in universities. So by engaging and collaborating with Dublin City Council, it gives us a fantastic opportunity, not just to use the city and all of the venues that Dublin City Council have, but also to tap into Dublin City Council's cultural programme, which is absolutely amazing. And I think it's often undervalued in a similar way as our research behind.
I agree with you there. I think Dublin City Council's arts programmes, culture programmes, don't quite get the kind of recognition that, you know, because the arts office there does an awful lot of work and
fantastic
work.
An
awful lot of programmes for all kinds of for kids. For everybody, you know.
And that was fantastic to see, because if you have a project like Culture Lab where you want that real true public engagement, I think we have a lot to learn in the university from an institution like Dublin City Council that has this long history of public engagement at every level and at every aspect within the city. So it doesn't take place within just, you know, four walls, that they're really engaged in so many different parts of city life. So it means that the opportunities are endless for us in that collaboration, and we're hoping that it becomes like Culture Lab, that it becomes a model that can be transferred internationally in a similar way as the Science Gallery has been. So our end goal would be to have, you know, a building that would allow us to have all of our events and our research, an incubation space, all of those things together.
So you were saying it's not just talks, it's also workshops.
It's workshops
all around town.
It's anything really, isn't it? It can be anything.
It is anything, and
anything that kind of creates awareness and exposure to the academia almost.
And we're kind of also hoping to get kind of different people from each institution together to look at different problems. So we could get engineers in with city planners, that we're actually just mixing it up so that it's not just about events. And
the whole thing
it's
sounds brilliant. Look,
endless.
listen, thank you very much.
Thank you for
Wish you
having
the
me.
best. Sorry again about a little technical hiccup. Wish you the best for the rest of the
Thank
culture
you very
night and
much.
all that. And we're going to go to Ed over with our last of our roving reporters. So thank you very much to the team there out there. Cheers to you.
And you're very welcome back to Cows Lane. And I'm here, as they said, with our final roving report of the evening. And Tom Ambrose, you're back.
Yes, I'm back with a bang. Great fun tonight. Went to see the Gaiety and actually got to take part in a class, which is fun. There was an introduction to drama class on tonight. There was also an acting for camera class. I did the introduction to drama from 7 to 8 p.m. There were about 35 people in the class. It was absolutely fantastic. The teacher there, Niamh Walsh, was very, very good. And as you can see from the shot, there are lots of people there who didn't know each other at the beginning of the class, suddenly all chatting to each other and all animated, and they were actually acting. This is really, really good. There was a children's acting class on before that. So I think anybody who has a child is particularly good, apart from the fun, which it was, but for confidence building for children, it's absolutely fantastic. And confidence building for adults.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. How difficult is it to get up in front of a room full of people and act, express yourself?
It's not actually.
No, okay.
I would have thought, maybe sit back from it, whatever, but no, most people didn't seem to mind at all. They just got up. The way it was introduced by the teacher really made such a difference. She was fun, she made it very relaxed, and people actually volunteered themselves to go up. It was almost like a scramble to get up and do something, which is really, really good.
And is it something now, having tried it out, would you pursue acting now? Would you think would it lend itself to, taking part more often?
Yeah, well, I'd love to do a class. Yeah, I think absolutely. Yeah, I think they have another taster class on Wednesday next week for adults.
Okay.
If anybody wants to go to that. But I would definitely consider it.
And what about acting for TV now? Now that you've got your big break here on Near TV's Culture
Why
Night.
not? Give it a bash to see how it goes. See if they take me.
And have you had what do you think of Culture Night so far? Have you had fun? What do you think? Great atmosphere around in there.
Fantastic atmosphere. I was up around Christchurch earlier on, and the place is buzzing. Werber Street Church is open, Christchurch itself, and the Dublinia place is open as well, I think. So lots of people around the place, problems with traffic and that, so that's a good sign.
It's great that it's spilled out onto the street. For me anyway, like you'll hear oohs coming from down
Yeah,
here. The
I've
next
heard
thing
that.
there'll be a cheer from over
Yeah,
here.
there are
So
bands
it's
everywhere you go, there are people talking, there's a great atmosphere. The place is alive. It's really
absolutely. Well, it is alive, and we're going to go back now to Blades and Eleanor, and they're still up on Cows Lane. Blades and Eleanor.